Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of PEPTalk, Productive Environment Podcast. We're super excited to talk to you today. You know, if you listen to us often, you know we're super excited every time we talk to you. But it's true. It is true. We are super excited to talk to you. Today, we're going to talk about organized, optimized, and on purpose. Why getting organized is just the beginning. I am Andrea Anderson, CEO of Productive Environment Institute here in Carolina Beach, North Carolina, joined by...
I'm Barbara Hemphill, founder of Productive Environment Institute. I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. And Andrea, I just have to add one thing. You talked about how we're always excited to be here. That's true. One of the other reasons we are is because we enjoy talking to each other. I mean, it's like we call each other peanut butter and jelly, and it's a reason because there's an energy that happens when we're together, and it's always so much fun.
It's true.
So it doesn't matter how yucky my day is or what I might have had in the morning or what I'm going to happen. It's like, I know that at this time, we're just going to have a great time with each other and with the audience. So we're so glad you're here.
That's right. That is right. So wherever you're joining us from, please plan to participate. We love the comments, so you guys can add comments as we're talking about things. But this is a pretty important topic today. So organized, optimized, and on purpose. Why getting organized is just the beginning. And I don't know if you can pick out of the title there, but on purpose is equated to our why. Right. So if you're a business owner, you've heard the question or had the conversation with maybe your coach or your team about what's your why? Why are you, as a business owner, why are you in business? Why do you do the things that you do? And it's the same thing with organizing and productivity, right, Barbara? It's like you've said before, I'll let you say it, but organizing for organizing's sake. Yeah, go ahead.
Organizing in and of itself has no value. And there are people who spend their entire lives organizing and reorganizing, but don't get any joy out of it. It's just like they're always getting organized so something can happen. And so there has to be a why for what you're getting organized for.
Yeah. And some little rewards along the way. I have to tell you, it's so funny. This past weekend, I spent some time rearranging. So I was organizing, but I was rearranging some things that I had when I moved in here. I put certain things in certain drawers and certain cabinets. And so I was like, okay, now that I've been in here 3 years, I need, there's some rearranging that I can make things more efficient and use what we call prime real estate. Because I realized I had some things that I never touched that were taking up prime real estate. They were in a drawer that could have been easier used in another way. So Barbara, your voice was in my head all day long on Sunday.
It's so interesting because I'm doing the same thing. We had to leave our house for a month. We lived in a temporary for a month, came back in. I organized this house. So it was intentional. 29 years ago, we moved in here. I haven't changed much of anything. Everything there was intentional. Everything had a story. And then I had to take everything down and pack things up and all that. And we came back and I thought, originally I was going to put everything back. And I thought, no, I don't think I will. And so I have been being intentional again. And the things that, pictures. It's like, well, I don't really like that much anymore. I don't
like that person anymore. Let me not hang that picture back on the wall. I don't know if that happened or not.
No, that didn't happen. But there were some things that I really did love previously, but don't anymore. And plus, I've never had any blank wall space to add anything new. So there have been times like when I've been in an art gallery or somewhere, I say, oh, well, I can't get anything because I don't have any wall space. Yeah. So I decided that unless I'm going to use Marie Kondo, it doesn't bring you joy. So I literally looked at every single thing that was going on the wall or in the drawers or whatever, and basically didn't use words, but does it help me accomplish my work and enjoy my life, or does it help me? And if it didn't, it's like, okay, it's gone. So I have a whole corner of one room full of things that are being donated.
That's awesome. Well, the phrase that when I said you were in my head, it was one line. It was one thing. Like you've said a zillion things. Clutter's postponed decisions, today's mail's tomorrow's pile. Like we know all those things. This was one theme that ran all day on Sunday as I was doing this. And it was, if you don't know you have it, or you can't find it, it is of no value.
Well, the one that I was using was the question that I've always asked years ago, and I'll never forget the first time I asked it. It was this is 46 years ago probably now, and it was a closet, and I pulled out of the closet a dress with the price tag still on it, and I held it up to the client, and I said, "How does this make you feel?" And I'll never forget the look on her face. And so then I said, if anything makes you feel anything negative, sad, depressed, ugly, guilty, whatever, you can't afford it. So that was the other thing I did was, how does this make me feel? And if it didn't make me feel something really positive, I don't need it.
Right. So your own voice in your head, as well as Marie Kondo and other experts, and that phrase was in mine because like I said, I had used drawers and cabinets in prime real estate places, and I was going through them going, didn't know I had this. Oh, this is where that is. Oh, forgot about this. And I was like, oh my gosh. So anyway, I'm still in the process of putting things back and, decluttering, getting rid of things. But anyway, and the purpose of that is I realize even just with my clothing, like it's not an efficient setup for where my clothes are in my closet. So I wanted to use a drawer and a dresser that I was using for other stuff that didn't need to be there. And so I have a purpose for that. And part of it is to be able to get ready faster, to be able to, access things quicker. But one of the things we want to talk about that does go along with that is the title. Okay. So organized, optimized, on purpose, right? So if you think about it, when people come to us, and if you're watching this video, you might be here because you want to get organized. Maybe we popped up on your YouTube channel and you want to get organized. Okay, I've searched how to get organized, or I found these people. Now I want to learn how to get organized. So organized is what we want. Okay, so we think, oh, I want to be more organized. I need to get organized. And what we say in Productive Environment Institute is we help you go from overwhelmed to optimized. Okay, so the word optimized, we skipped over organized because we can help you get organized pretty quickly. But we want to go beyond that, and we want you to be optimized. Okay, you can organize multiple different ways and tips and tricks and all of that. We go beyond the tips and the tricks. Okay. So if organized is what you want, optimized is what you need, right? Okay, why? And then another bigger piece is the on purpose. On purpose is what you value. Okay, so organized is what you want, optimized is what you need, and on purpose is what you value. So we've got to have that purpose part. Go ahead, Barbara.
Well, that last one is the one that just makes my heart sing. I mean, it's like, with so many people now struggling with so many things, illnesses and uncertainty and career issues and family issues and, what's happening in our world and our economy and all those things. And so now identifying what you value is really critical because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And so one of the things I've been really focused on lately is making sure that the last conversation I have with every person is something that I'll feel comfortable with if I don't have a conversation with them again. Because you just never know. So figuring out what you value. We used to say you could tell what someone values by looking at their calendar and their checkbook. Of course, nobody uses looks at their checkbook anymore, but you can look at your credit cards. There are other ways to tell how do you spend your money. And the question is, are you being intentional about it, or is it just because you succumbed to that video or that commercial or that salesperson? And I go back to the old example that Stephen Covey used. I don't know if he founded it, but I remember watching him do it at the front of a stage where he had the jar and the rocks.
Yeah.
And putting the rocks in first and then saying to the audience, is it full? No, you can put in some pebbles, and then you can put in some sand, and then you can put in even some water. And then him saying to the audience, so what does that mean? And many people in the audience say, well, you can always squeeze
more.
Yeah, you can always squeeze in something else. He says, no, if you don't put in the rocks first, there won't be room. And so on purpose is identifying what are the rocks.
Yeah. And so really, the difference between what we want to get across is the difference between getting organized. Like if that's what you want, I want to get organized. There is a difference between getting organized once versus building a system that evolves with you over time. And that is why we are a company that we don't just have clients that we just help get organized once. We have our SOAR program, Systemize and Organize with Action and Reference. That is a long-term. I mean, it starts with day one, yes, and getting your systems in place. That can happen in a couple of weeks. You can set up the system and be in place in a couple of weeks. But over time, that system has to evolve with you. Otherwise, you just got organized one time, just like you brushed your teeth one time. That's not going to be optimal for you. So
the one that's so obvious that applies is losing weight or exercising. I mean, it's
exercise one time.
Yeah. Or even if you do it for a few weeks, it's lifetime. What does it mean? And I think the conversation you and I just had about how we're reorganizing because it's a journey. It's not a destination. Where you are in your life is going to continually change. But if you understand the principles and the practices that we put in SOAR, then regardless of where you are in your life, whether you're a caregiver suddenly when you didn't expect it, or when you're going to retire, and I can't tell you the numbers of people that hired me after they retired because they said, I thought, when I get retired, I'm going to get organized. And then they'd say, I wonder how I ever had time to work because I'm so busy now. And so it's a matter of this. It's a lifetime journey. Of course, you need less, but we're living examples of practicing what we preach in our own lives right at this instant.
That's right. And it does change. You said over time, and it's really what season that you're in your life right now. So when we talk about optimization, optimization is not about perfection. We might think being organized is perfection. It's like I have to have everything in its place and all that. And then we say, okay, but we want you to be optimized. That's not about perfection. It's about alignment with your current season. Okay. And seasons change. So just because I used to mom's on here in the background, she's going to laugh when I say this. When I was growing up, one time I cleaned the kitchen and it was a mess. Okay. Let me look at her. Hold on. Let me move this thing out of the way so I can see her face. She's laughing. Okay. So I spent hours, and I was such a martyr about it too. I spent the whole day cleaning the kitchen. I mean, I got down and dirty. And anybody that came in my presence for years afterwards knew that I had cleaned the kitchen. So, I mean, certainly days and moments after, it's like, I cleaned the kitchen. So I cleaned the kitchen one time in our home growing up, 40 something years ago. And I told everybody about it. So anyway, and now it's like a running joke that Andrea cleaned the kitchen. But anyway, the point is that was a season, and you can't just clean the kitchen one time, and you can't just do something one time. And it's whatever season you're in your life that, right now we're now in August. So it's August 2025, depending on when you're listening to this video. And kids will be going back to schools. Those of you that have children, there's kids going back to school. There's kids going to college. There's, maybe empty nesters, whatever it is, your business cycles. Aging parents, those are all seasons in life. And so we want to optimize our systems to handle that season, right? Tax season's over for now. but we need to be doing things to optimize for the next tax season. Okay. So that's what we mean by optimize. And then how being on purpose is about making intentional, Barbara said intentional earlier, making intentional decisions with your time, energy, and attention. Okay. So where intention goes, attention follows. Okay. I think it was, heard Myron Golden say that, where your intention goes, your attention follows. And you can also flip that. But anyway, so that's what we mean by organized, optimized, and on purpose. And they're all important. They're all, when we have a goal of organizing our time, space, and information, it's like, okay, why? What is it going to accomplish for you? What are you going to be able to achieve after doing that you haven't been able to achieve yet? So that brings us to something you developed years ago, Barbara, that really guides everything that we do and everything that we teach to clients, is our 5-step productive environment process. And you didn't start, number one, you didn't start the 5-step process. Step one is not, go to Container Store and buy some bins. It's not, grab your paper and start sorting it. That's not number one. What is number one, Barbara, and why?
Well, it's state your vision. And it goes back to what we said earlier about we're organizing for something. Mm-hmm. So what if you were organized, whatever it is that you want to organize, whether it's your career or your closet or your life or whatever it is, what would it look like? How would your life be different? How would you feel differently? How would you know? And you can't change what you don't measure. So one of the things we focus on is helping you, giving you a tool that you can measure where you are now. And so we have a lot of programs, like I do a vision accelerator that's a 90-day. And so we do it at the beginning, and then at the 90 days, we go back and we look at it again. Where did we make progress? And sometimes you find that you do better in one and then the other one slips behind because life is complicated. So by having a way that you can measure it, you can identify what areas you need to work on. And it's just so much more rewarding to see your progress.
That's right. And then number two, once we've got our vision, number two is identify your obstacles. And something that I'm seeing a lot now that can be considered an obstacle is there's too many things to organize. I mean, Barbara, when you started this 47 years ago, you were focused on paper. And that's what was going on in offices around the world, is paper, printing paper. So it was all about the paper. And then came along electronic information. There came email and electronic information on your computer. That's like I don't want to even say, it's not even the new frontier anymore. It's like, it's there. And then you've got photos, right? We just did we just did a 3-day workshop last week on photo organizing, the art of organizing digital photos. And so we've got paper, we've got email, we've got computer files. And once you start talking to individuals about it seems like it should be straightforward. Oh, you just do this, and this. But when you talk to multiple people, they're using different cloud services. They might have more than one hard drive. They might have a desktop, a laptop, an iPad, and an iPhone to go along with it. So we've got things spread. I'm saying but we do the same thing. We've got things spread in different environments. So that's what I bring that up to say that can be an obstacle. It can feel like an obstacle now, that it's like, I don't even know where to start. There's too many things that are disorganized. I don't know where to start. And so do you want to address obstacles at all, or do you want me to go on to the next one?
No, go ahead and go. You've done, that's
okay.
Great.
Yeah. So the third one is commit your resources. So once you've got your vision, you've identified some of the obstacles that are stopping you, and then commit your resources. Okay. This is what I want to accomplish. This is what's keeping me from accomplishing it, or has kept me from accomplishing it. But the question we want to ask you is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is this to you to solve now? And if you're not a 9 or a 10, you're not going to do it. You're just it's just not your top priority. But when it is your top priority, when you're a 9 or a 10, that means you've realized that the clutter, whether it's physical, digital, emotional, or spiritual, is getting in your way. It's blocking you from something. And when you've made that decision and you find someone to help you, like Productive Environment Institute or someone else to help you, then what the next step is for you to commit your resources. What are you willing to do to solve that problem? And again, if you're a 5, a 6, a 7, and maybe even an 8, you're not going to commit your resources. Really. I mean, you're going to, or if you do, you'll backslide because it's not a big enough problem for you to want to solve or commit to solving. Were you going to say something about that, Barbara?
I was just saying, what I found through the years is this is the one that people often have trouble filling out. They don't even know what does that mean? I mean, first of all, it's time. So one of the questions is, and I want to just back up a second to say, one of the things that helps, if getting organized is something you want to do, but then it's not a 9 or a 10 yet because it feels so overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
One of the ways to approach it is to pick a much smaller project, because the thing that PEI specializes in is teaching principles and strategies that apply across the board. So once you use them, I just talked to a client that I worked with 20 years ago that I did her jewelry door because she had lots and lots of jewelry that she'd inherited or whatever. Mm-hmm. And we did her jewelry door and she pulled it out and took a picture. She said, see, it still works. And that just doing, she wasn't, she needed to do paper, but it was just too big. And so it's like, let's pick something. Well, then once she understood the principles with the jewelry door, then she was able to apply it to principles. So what are your resources? It's your time. Mm-hmm. It may be your money, but it's also the people who can help you, people that are willing to help you if you just ask. There's so many things that you have as resources that you often don't think of and don't take advantage of.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't know that services like ours exist. So if you've got the time that you're willing to invest, because it doesn't happen overnight, it does take time, and you've got money to, and it can be anywhere from, $10 to $10,000 and anywhere in between. But if you're willing to invest money to solve the problem, there's that. So like Barbara said, you could start with a small challenge. And then, grow from there. And it's kind of like Fly Lady, where a lot of our listeners know who Fly Lady is. And she says, just empty the kitchen sink, shine your kitchen sink. You may have been, like, to your point, Barbara, too overwhelmed by cleaning the whole kitchen. But if you just take the dishes out of the sink and shine the sink, that's it. And so starting with a small organizing project may be just enough to then get your motivation up. I have a feeling that the people that attended our Picture Palooza last week, it sparked some motivation. Like there were people that found pictures that they thought were gone forever, that were buried deep into their computer. And it was an emotional experience for some. But just doing that, it also triggered like, oh, okay, now I want to organize my files too, not just my pictures. And it's not an overnight thing. Even that 3-day workshop, there's still a lot of work to be done, but at least having a system and knowing what to do next
I think
is empowering.
I think it's important to put in here one of the principles that is really foundational for PEI, and that is today's mail is tomorrow's pile. Mm-hmm. So whatever it is that you're organizing, whether it's your pictures, your digital photo, your email, your jewelry, whatever it is, one of the things we always focus on first is how to stop the problem, because you can do that very quickly. And then that gives you encouragement and gives you hope to go back and do the rest. But if you try to do it all at once, it's just too overwhelming. And if you just start by, well, I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this, you're going to be there forever because you haven't stopped the problem.
That's right. That's right. Okay. Step 4 is create and execute your plan. And that is where a team comes in, or a partner, or someone that can help you create and execute your plan. So you've got your vision, you've stated your vision, you've identified your obstacles, you're committing your resources, and now it's time to create and execute your plan. Okay, where am I going to start? Am I going to start with paper? Am I going to start with email? Is it easier for me to start with photos? Whatever that is, and we can have a conversation with you about that to help you figure out where to start and execute your plan. And it's a lot more fun to do it together. That's why we have our group, our sort of success system, where we have our team of people. We meet together every week. We're all filing. We're all, working on our email. We're all doing our own thing, but we're doing it together. And that's how you can execute your plan. And the hardest step is step 5. But it's not hard when you've got people, when you've got a community of people working with you to help you, and that's sustain your success. So step 5 is sustain your success. And it's not just sustaining what you've done one time. Again, once you set up the system, you're not done. You create systems, habits, and routines over time, and then sustain your success. Those things can be changed along the way. You're tweaking and changing as you go. So those are the 5 steps. We'll add those to the description on YouTube. So wherever you're joining us from, make your way over to our YouTube channel, if you would, and leave a comment there. And also be sure to like and subscribe to our channel while you're there. And if you're new to us and new to Productive Environment Institute, you can go to lesscluttermorelife.com. And we have a free training there. It's just a short training. So you can go there and watch that training to kind of find out, the bigger picture of what we do and how we may be able to help you and support you. You'll also be able to get the benchmark that we talked about. Barbara said we have something we call our Productive Environment Scorecard. So if you watch the training, you'll get a link to that Productive Environment Scorecard to see where you are now. That's a good place to start. So thank you for joining us today. Barbara, do you have anything you want to wrap up with?
I would just invite you to ask the question, what is one thing in my life that needs to be optimized? And that would be a good place to start.
Perfect. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. We meet every Tuesday at noon Eastern. Usually we're live. Sometimes we restream a former episode, but we love to spend time with you guys on Tuesdays at noon Eastern. So we hope you'll join us again. Thanks so much for being here. Bye, everybody.